So good morning from Hellenic Mediterranean University in Crete, in Greece. It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure and honor to have all of you here in order to discuss with our distinguished students, panelists, the challenges, the opportunities, and their proposals for more internationalization in our universities, particularly for ATHENA European University Alliance and HMU that I represent. The opinion of the students is very crucial for us in order to plan our internationalization actions and plan and execute actions that match the needs of our students and their priorities for their studies, for their employment, for their research. So in the ATHENA, but also in Hellenic Mediterranean University in particular, students, we would like students to have a strong say in all the missions of the university. My name is Kostas. I work for ATHENA and also for Hellenic Mediterranean University. This is one of the the second activity that our alliance organizes in order to celebrate Erasmus 2023. However, we can celebrate since in our neighborhood in Crete that I'm locating, the situation is not so happy because of what is happening in our neighborhood in Middle East. So we hope for better days. And this is the time now to provide the floor to my colleague from University of Marie Curie Skłodowska in Poland, which is one of the partners of the ATHENA European Alliance. We have also our coordinator, Nuno, here with us, and also our student board president and the president of ATHENA ESN, Mr. Psaltakis. But I will provide the floor to Carolina to moderate. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you. You are all very welcome. And as all of you know, the Erasmus Days is an initiative aimed on disseminating the results of projects under the Erasmus Plus program, as well as promoting active participation. Today we will give the floor to the students. We will focus on their experience, challenges, and of course, opportunities. Our guest will speak about internationalization of higher education from students' point of view. We hope that our expert will encourage you to be the part of internationalization process of higher education. And the plan of our roundtable is like following. In the first part, our experts will answer some crucial questions on internationalization process. And in the second part, you will be able to ask the questions. If somebody have their questions ready already, please put it on the chat. It will make the things easier. As Kostas said, my name is Karolina Sokolnicka, and I'm working in Erasmus office at Maria Curie Skłodowska University in Lublin in Poland. And I'm honored to be the moderator of today's roundtable. And at the beginning, I would like to introduce you our special guests, students and alumni. Can I ask you, I will read your names and please wave just to know who is who. So George. Here is George, Jason. Rita. Where is Rita? We have Rita here. Katerina? Hello. Tanguy? And Nassim. So, they're our experts, and at the beginning, I would like to ask our speakers to introduce themselves and explain how are you related to internationalization in higher education. And let's start from George.
Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you all for participating, and thank you for the invitation and organization from Kostas and from ATHENA European University. So I have been working, I've been engaged in internationalization for the past 4 years of my studies as an undergraduate student in HMU. I've started in ESN, HMU, and continued with the ATHENA European University, which is the main initiative we are discussing for today. And I have seen internationalization from different projects, and I feel very comfortable in today's meeting.
Thank you, George. And the floor goes to Jason.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. Thank you for the invite, Mr. Costas. My name is Jason Cartalos. I'm an undergraduate student. I study business administration in Athens University of Economics and Business. So it's nice to see that we have multiple backgrounds here and multiple universities. I am related with internalization because I have been part of ISAC exchanges as a vice president, my last role. So this lasted for about a year and a half. And also in the last semester, so the last spring semester, I was a part of the Erasmus Plus exchange program. I went from Athens University of Economics and Business to Zagreb, Croatia, in University of Zagreb in the Faculty of Economics and Business. And what I'm hoping to do today is provide my personal viewpoints and my personal challenges, motivations, and maybe some solutions to be considered from my experience in the Erasmus exchange.
Thank you, Jason. And now the floor goes to Rita.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rita, and I'm currently the president of ESN. I actually have been involved in this world of internationalization since 2017, since I did my Erasmus in Belgium a long time ago. And since then, I'm joining ESN locally in my section in Lisbon, and now as president of ESN nowadays.
Thank you, Rita. And Katerina, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here. I'm part of the Erasmus Student Network I have been a part of the Erasmus Student Network for the past 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Also last year, I did my Erasmus Plus internship in Krakow. And yeah, currently I'm the president of ESN Greece.
Thank you, Katerina. And Tanguy, the floor is yours.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Tanguy Guibert. I'm French and vice president of ESU, the European Student Union. I started my journey in the student movement in 2016 when I was still a nurse student, a very long time ago. And then I was part of the National Student Union of France and my local union and other student organization back in France. And yeah, now vice president of ESU, and yeah, thank you very much for the invitation and for that discussion.
Thank you very much. And the last but not the least, Nassim.
Hello, thank you for your invitation to this meeting. So I'm Nassim. I'm a student from the University of Antwerp, and my university is part of the UFE Alliance, which is Young Universities for the Future of Europe. I'm a student representative in our student body, and I hope that I can contribute to this conversation by sharing our experiences on co-creating our own alliance.
Thank you, Nassim. So thank you very much for the introduction. As you can see, all of our speakers are very experienced young people. And now let's start with the questions that we have according to their experience. So the first question goes to Jason. I would like to ask you to share with us your main motivation to participate in Erasmus program. What were the highlights of this experience?
Okay, thank you for the question. To begin with, I think that there are multiple motivations for someone to go on an Erasmus exchange. Before I even entered university, I've heard about Erasmus, and it was unreal to me that someone helps you, financially funds you to go on an exchange without you having to sacrifice, your career goals, your academic goals. So it is a big opportunity, I think, for students. And I've spoken with dozens of students who've been on exchanges, both Erasmus exchanges and other international exchanges. And I don't think I've ever met one that regretted it, that was like, no, I didn't get a lot from this opportunity. So obviously multiple motivations. For me, I think the main motivations were three. First of all, the part of the academic enrichment, the fact that you can combine in your studies, in your bachelor studies, you have the opportunity to go abroad for 1 semester or even up to a year. If you wish, you don't have to sacrifice your classes, you can match them. And this is a big reason why I decided to go, because I wanted to see how a different university operates, how it competes. I wanted to compare my university with a different university abroad, and to identify the differences in the way of operation, the similarities, and why those are happening, why it is important to make that a thing, to understand it. And also, you know, when you live in one country and when you study, for example, for me in Athens University of Economics and Business, you only see one thing, you only see one way of working, and your mind, it's very hard for you to think of other things. It's hard for you to think of other ways or solutions that things could be done. But when you go on a different exchange, that becomes very apparent, that becomes very clear, and then you start thinking about a lot of things and lots of ways that you can then come back and improve your local community and the university life of others, like many institutions do, like ESN, for example. So the first thing was academic enrichment. The second thing, of course, it's the multicultural experience and the traveling. Of course, going to Erasmus, you have the opportunity to see a lot of places. You can go to a lot of countries. Personally, I went to 4 different countries. Even though I was in Croatia, I also had the opportunity to go to Italy, to Slovenia, and to Hungary, which are, of course, very close to Croatia. And also get to meet many different people from various backgrounds around the world. For example, my roommate in the student dormitories that I was located was from India, which is, you know, it was something very different for me. It was, of course, very culturally engaging, and it was great to see how other people view the world, how their countries are operating, what are their problems, and such things. And also, the third thing was, of course, personal development, because this experience is a transformative experience, even for the most adaptable and the most flexible students. It is a transformative experience to go abroad and to live in a country. For the first time, you get to stop living with your parents. You have to do your own financial budgeting. You have to organize your own time. You have to find your own way to live your life, basically. And this is something that, of course, gets you out of your comfort zone. And I think it's a major benefit, you know. And so for the highlights, I would have to say that it was very interesting to collaborate in team projects, team university projects. There were a lot of them, and collaborating in teams of international students for like 5, 6, or even up to 7 people. It was very, very awakening. I would say it was a great experience because, as I said before, everyone in their own university and in their own country operates or thinks in like a different way. So having to get that knowledge and try to adapt to the project needs and communicate together in an efficient way was a great challenge. And of course, another highlight, as I said before, was traveling. I got to go to 4 countries, and also I managed to go to like 18 different places in Croatia. So I'm confident that I've traveled like most of Croatia. And to do that, I had to push myself, let's say, hard in order to be academically responsible and to achieve good grades. But in doing so, I really had the opportunity to see many different places, many different people, and I can say for sure that it was worth it. So that's all. I hope I didn't overstep my time.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your response. I think the very important thing that you mentioned is this opening mind, given that the whole world may be recognized on the internet, taking advantage of life experience is still very, very enriching. Thank you very much. So let's go with another question, which goes to the Tanguy. How student can exploit during her or his professional development in internationalization experience? What are the actions of the European Student Union for more international university studies?
Yes, thank you for the questions. And I mean, I've prepared some stuff, but I think that I will start from what Yasan said, because it's really interesting and it's core. I mean, it's really what the students want to experience during the mobility. Is exactly what will gain from for them when they will enter the market, the job market. Because I mean, what is said about learning about other people and learning about other culture, it's exactly what is the main benefit from doing mobility. Because, for example, when you do because mobility is mainly in bachelor and master degree, and for example, if you want to make like a PhD, or if you want to work in research, or even if you want to go work in a company, or I mean, even in any field, I mean, even in health, and that's also really important. I mean, to learn other way to see how to cure people and how to approach our system and stuff. And for the research, it's also really important, because I mean, there is always a time when you have to learn about other culture and how the other people are working, their working style, and it's also coming a lot from the cultural approach of education and stuff. And so when you perform a mobility, and when you have the chance to go on mobility, you are more able to more quickly go through all these differences and say, okay, so now we maybe do not have the same approach on this, but that's okay, because I mean, everyone know how to work and how to evolve with people with other cultural backgrounds, and now they are like, they gain in efficiency in working together, and advancing with discovering each other to be more effective in the creation of something. I lost the word. More like a group, and to create a group, and the spirit of working together. That's really helpful. I would say that it's the main thing, that from what Yasan said on how we can, on how mobility can really be favorable for students when they enter the job market, because they are already used to other cultures. And on what EZU is doing for more international university studies, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, we are mainly working on the barriers that prevent students to go on mobility. And for that, we are working in a lot of areas, working with mainly with the European Commission, European Parliament, and also other stakeholders at European level, on how we can tackle the main barriers for students to go on mobility. And there are several. I will just name some of them, but first of all, the problem of lacking of budget, and meaning that maybe not all the students can afford mobility, because, as also Yasin said, I mean, it costs a lot to go on mobility, and if there is no financial help, it can create also like a gap for some students to not go. There is also the problem of recognition, because still too many students can go on mobility, but then what about if your mobility was not in the end recognized, and all your skills and competencies are not recognized? And that's a big problem, because I mean, it's not about going abroad for 1 year to do whatever you want. It's about going abroad and then have all your everything that you learn recognized in your own country, so you can pursue your curricula. And there is also the problem of the lacking of information before you go, when you go, and after you go. And for that, I mean, it's about a lot of things. I mean, your own registration and involvement in the mobility, the request of the grant, and also all the information about the services you can have access to when you are abroad, and also the problem of language. For example, if you go, I don't know, let's say Poland, and if you're not speaking Polish and there is not a lot of people speaking English around you, that's also a problem, because you are not maybe able to go and to exchange with a lot of people, so it restrains also the number of people you can exchange with. So we are working on everything, on all these barriers, and how we can tackle them, especially as I said, with the Commission in several working groups, and with different partners. So to make in the end mobility more affordable, more inclusive for everyone. That's I would say that that's the main idea, but I'm really generally not good to managing my time, so that's why I don't want to take that that much of the time. But yeah, that's the main idea of what we're doing, and just finishing by, of course, talking about the European universities, as we're invited by mainly by the initiative of ATHENA Alliance. We really see in the European universities like an opportunity to tackle all these problems and to really go further on for what concerns mobility, because I mean, we are talking about higher education institutions working closer together. So that, I mean, it will be easier to eventually straighten some tie and straighten some connections between the higher education institutions to eventually make the whole processes more easy to use, more user friendly for the students. And when it comes, for example, to recognition, through the learning agreement, maybe to have something that can allow at the end some kind of automatic recognition at the end, or maybe to ease the process of registration and for the request of the grant, etc. So, I mean, we really see within the European universities like a tool to maybe tackle all the barriers that I mentioned. And so, yes, that's also a huge part of our work and how we can eventually use and foster mobility within the alliances. And yeah, that's also a point that I wanted to mention, because that's really important for us. Thank you very much again, and I hope that was not too long.
Oh, it was actually a little bit, but we are still in time, so don't worry. So I think the thing that that is very important in what you said, that despite of the generation of you students that is described as not caring about any relationships between people, you also did focus on the experience of meeting real people and have life experience as very, very enriching. And that's nice, I think. And okay, so thank you. And let's go to another question, which goes to Katerina. Can you please tell us what are the main challenges for incoming students? What do they face? What challenges? And how does ESN facilitate their experience in host
Can you hear me?
institutions?
Because my internet connection is unstable. Okay, perfect.
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. From my point of view, the main challenges that the incoming students are facing are the accommodation, so where to find a place to stay, and secondly, the language barrier. So for the first one, a lot of Erasmus students
I can hear you. Katerina, maybe I will suggest you to turn off your camera. Maybe it will make your connection better. So we can hear you at all, I think. Katerina disconnected. So, oh, you are back with us. Maybe you should turn off your camera to make the connection better. She's still not here. Are you with us?
No, she's out. She's going to go back, but you can go on with the next one, and then I'm going to accommodate.
We will. So the next question that we have prepared is to Rita. And Rita, can you please tell us what is the vision of the ESN International for more internationalized higher education? What is the role of the ESN International to higher education decision makers for more internationalization?
Katerina is back, however. Katerina, if you would like to switch off your camera in order to make your statements. Sorry, Rita, for this intervention. So, Katerina.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. Now I'm using my data, so I think it will go better. But anyways, so what I was talking about is that the two main challenges I can see is the language barrier and accommodation. People don't know where to find the accommodation. Incoming student and outgoing Erasmus student are keep asking us about the place that they can find their home. If we know if there are specific guidelines, where can we find a website, for example, that there will be no scammers, etc. And the second one is as already said, is the language barrier. Sometimes they cannot find specific courses in English. In Greece, for example, in my university at least, we don't have a lot of them. So some of the classes are in Greek, and the Erasmus students are blended with the Greek students. And especially when it comes to specific terminology, it's super difficult for us, the Greek students, to translate to the Erasmus students what's happening, because yeah, we have done you have done this too. So yeah. And what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry, because of the terrible connection, I lost it.
Okay. How does ESN facilitate their experience in host institutions?
Okay, so basically, I could split this in two categories, let's say, the local level and the national level. From the local level, you know that we as ESN, we support the Erasmus offices with the bureaucracy staff, with the Erasmus students. We try to help them, we organize events, and also we're trying to be as close as possible to these people. And from the national level's point of view, we try to create more partnerships connected to the things that I have already said, for example, about accommodation, where to find specific places and specific partnerships to support the students to find their home. Also, we advocate about this in the higher institutions, and with the national agencies, we're trying to promote as much as we can mobility to underline all these problems and find solutions. Also, we educate our volunteers in order to be more ready, let's say, and capable to support their Erasmus students in the local level. And of course, so that's it. Because I think I have passed the 5 minutes, so I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. I think the very important thing that you said is are the organizational barriers, not due to the motivation of the students, but due to the preparation of universities themselves for students exchange. So let's go back to Rita. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, it's okay. Thank you. And I'm going to, of course, continue a bit what Katarina is saying, because you're from the same organization, of course, from different points of view, but I'm going to give a bit of continuity for what she's saying. And in ESN, especially in international level, and of course, all abroad of ESN, what we try to do is to promote more and better mobility for students. And what we try to do with this is, it's to have more access to mobility opportunities and more impact in the actions that we do. With more access to mobility opportunities, we are saying that, for example, with our advocacy campaigns, now a bit more specific for the international level, we try, for example, to liaise with the European Commission to try to have more opportunities for students to go on mobility opportunities. But also we try, for example, with the events Katarina was mentioned, to have more impact in society. And also was mentioned here prior the panel of the connections between the alliances and the local community. Also, it's something that we strive to do with our actions. But for this, ESN has been actually advocating for many things all over the years. But one of the things that we have been advocating and also have been continuing doing, especially now with the learning mobility framework, it's been one of our main targets with this, was actually the mobility target. So we believe that students actually should have an opportunity to go on mobility, and we believe that yearly we should have a target of 25% of higher education students participating in mobility, because we see, of course, as was mentioned here in the first intervention, all the opportunities that gives to a young person to go on mobility. I also faced it myself when I went in 2017. The opportunities not only to enrich your CV, but also to enrich your professional and personal path, and to travel and discover the world. That's why we highly advocate for these 25 mobility targets. And of course, the role of ESN, it's a bit double-faced. So we are present in 3 levels. And like Katarina was mentioning, we are representing the grassroots. So trying to support the students by organizing events, by integrating them in the society. But also a bit my role in ESN International is to take a bit what the grassroots is doing and explaining the problems of the students to the stakeholders, such as universities, such as national agencies, such as the Commission. And for this, for example, we are a big fan of data and of data collection. And for example, we have done with ESU survey about housing, understanding a bit what are the problems with housing that the students are facing. And we have now, for example, just concluded our big survey. So we organized a survey between 2 years called ESN survey, where we collected more or less 23K of answers of the challenges that the students are facing throughout the mobility opportunities. And the two main challenges that were tackled in the survey that were already tackled here were lack of funding and lack of affordable accommodation. And as you can see, they are a bit both connected. And this goes a bit to the second part of the question, is that how can we find solutions for these problems? So to find solutions for these problems, actually it needs to be a cohesion of the two sides. So it's not only the higher education institutions and the government that need to work together, but also we as student organizations need to support with information and to do the provision of information. So I would say, so that's it.
Thank you very much. Your approach to collecting students' mobility data is impressive, and I wish you were able to use those data to collect that you are collecting to achieve the level of mobility you are planning to achieve.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next question goes to George. Are you with us? Yes, you are with us. What is the role and engagement of the students in European University Alliance? Please provide some examples from the alliance that you are in.
Carolina, in this point, I'd like to say that this question also refers to Nassim, George and Nassim.
Yes.
Let me repeat it for Nassim, just to be sure that he heard it.
Okay. All right, so the European Universities Initiative provide new opportunities for mobility for students, and not only mobilities, but opportunities for their professional career development. Because now, outside of graduating from one university, you graduate from 9 or 10 or even more in some cases, and you have a bigger network of students, a bigger network of professors, a bigger network of companies that are collaborating through university, and you have bigger opportunities. So in the whole idea of the European Universities Initiative upgrades your university experience. Outside of that, students play a major role in the European Universities Initiative because as instructed by the European Commission, students should be the center point of this initiative in the student-centered approach and student-centered approach to education. So what we are trying to organize is actions that really engage students. So in the past years, we have tried to onboard students both from ESN, both from EZU, both from different backgrounds in order to have their opinion heard. Outside of that, we also try to hear and communicate with local governments to see what they need from the universities in order to facilitate that in the future. So, for example, if a local government or a local community in the city needs a specific course in anything that we can help as a university, we can organize this. And this doesn't mean it can be organized just from our university, because as I mentioned before, you create a consortium of universities, you create multiple opportunities that you can mitigate the workload into many different partners. So that's one of the good things. And another really good benefit of the European Universities Initiative is definitely the blended intensive courses, because now students do not really have to just go for a full Erasmus for 6 months. They can really just take an exchange for a week or two and do some work online and still get the experience of what Erasmus is, but in a shorter period. And at the same time, we also facilitate events, social events for those students that are coming for those blended activities in order to feel more welcome and to get the full Erasmus experience in those days. So similar to how a welcome week structures in a university, in ESN. So we do this even for an event that's, for example, 6 days. Like we can organize more, even 4 events social that will make those students feel welcome and embedded in the society, it was one of the faults that Blended had before, because students just went there and they didn't really get embedded in the society. Outside of that, we also organize courses to facilitate further training for the students. This could mean career opportunities, This could mean buddy systems. So, for example, to create a sense of community with students being from so different campus and that are very remote and probably will not meet together so easily as you would with someone from your own university. We organize an online buddy system where you can be matched with students from your university in order to participate. And as I said before, the student council and the student government is here in the European University with participation from over 50 students at this moment. So all the students have the ability to voice their needs and their wants, and they will be transferred directly to the governance of the Alliance in order to be facilitated.
Thank you. So together with George, we participated in the event for the establishment of ESN Athena, and we both know what energy is a student, and I think it is our responsibility to wisely support your initiative and not to fail this energy.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, as you both might remember, like Carolina organized the event of ESN Athena, and we had a really incredible initiative where almost 40 or almost 25, 30, I don't remember the exact number, students came to Lublin, the European Youth Capital, and they received training on different matters that could help who could help them in their betterment of their careers and to better facilitate and coordinate the Athena student board in the future.
Okay, so thank you very much for the answer. Well, as Kostas mentioned, who is always watches over and well, he takes care about everything. We have around our guests, our speakers, the representative of another European University Alliance, and Nassim. The same question goes to you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
What is the role and engagement of the students in European University Alliance? Please provide some examples from your alliance.
Okay. So in the UFA Alliance, we have a student body. It's called the Student Forum. And there we have 3 students from each partner university. We have 10 universities in our alliance. So that's 30 students in total, 3 from each. We get elected or selected, depending on the university, to represent our students in the student body. Within our student body, we have a board which has a president, a vice president, and a secretary. The president and the vice president also have a seat in our strategic council, which is our highest governance body, which is where our rectors of the different universities are as well. And all votes there are unanimous. So the students have a veto in this body. So through this way, we have direct say in what is decided in our alliance. Besides that, each student of the student body is also part of a work package, which is all the topics that our alliance works on. So we have various topics like the student journey, which is what we offer to our students. So that's offering the possibilities to our students to take classes from various universities, both on-site or online. Besides that, we also have other topics like diversity and inclusion, quality assurance, environment, etc. And students have a say in each part of our alliance. So when proposals are made in these different work packages, they eventually end up at the highest governance body, but students will have a say in these proposals from the beginning to the end. We also have the power as the student forum to come up with our own proposals independently of the work packages, which is where we work with staff members. I think some good examples are some proposals that we have made to improve our campaigning towards our own students to promote the alliance as a whole. Besides that, we have also made a lot of comments about finances, which has been mentioned by the other speakers here as well. Because the UFA Alliance wants to create a UFA bachelor. So in this bachelor, students would go on exchange each year, so 3 times. And this would be done with Erasmus Fund. But I think we all know that the Erasmus Fund is not enough for all students to actually afford to go on exchange for a certain amount of time. So we have very much made clear to our staff members and our rectors that it's really important to pay attention to these finances, because otherwise we will only be offering mobilization for mobility for students of certain backgrounds. So I think it's really important for us to pay attention to that as a whole. Yeah, we currently in our student body have a few topics that are being discussed, which one of them is communications, which is what I'm focusing on. That's also why I am here today, to represent our alliance. So we also want to improve our connection to other students from other alliances, because students from other alliances face similar issues that we do, and we would like to be able to discuss with them how they are dealing with these problems and how they're trying to solve them. So we as students can come together and share ideas with each other. Besides that, we also have a very big topic of remuneration for students that work for the UFA Alliance. Like me, I'm a student representative. A lot of time goes to representing our students, but there's very little recognition for the work that we do. And it's really important for the students to get recognized for the work that we do, because we do contribute a lot to the project as a whole, because we are part of all the levels of our alliance. Yeah, I think that's largely how the UFA Alliance deals with student-centeredness.
Okay, thank you. Well, as you can see, we have a great deal of experience, and maybe another step to support students could be a platform for cooperation between representatives of each university alliance to share your challenges and experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all the answers. I have another questions for all of you. So all of the speakers are asked to be focused now and hear what the question is. I would like to ask you to name the biggest challenge you've faced. Please make one proposal on how to address this challenge. What does the future hold for the internationalization of higher education? And let's start from George. George is...
Yes. So there are a lot of challenges that we have faced in internationalization, and what does the future for internationalization holds? A lot more initiatives like the European Universities Initiative, and I think also the advancement and the betterment of the European Universities Initiative will play a major role in the future of internationalization, both in Europe and outside of Europe, because it will be as a placeholder of an initiative that we have as a European Union.
Okay, thank you. And the same question goes to Jason. Would you like me to repeat?
No, it's okay. It's okay. As George said, there are actually many challenges ongoing, both from challenges that organizations like ESN and institutions like the universities have to face. There are multiple challenges, but also there are challenges for the students themselves that go on exchanges. I'm going to focus on that part, on the students' part, being as I was an exchange participant last semester. So there are, of course, multiple challenges. You have, for example, the part of the adaptation to a new country, which is, of course, normal. Something that really helped in my case is that the hosting university, had prepared 1 week prior to the beginning of the semester an orientation, so-called week, which is very helpful for the students to go 1 week earlier for their semester and, see their accommodation, get settled down, find where you can eat, when you can wash your clothes, and practical things like that. Also, there is the part of the networking, which is, an important issue, because, you go on an exchange abroad, you probably don't know anywhere there. And ESN actually really helped with this challenge, and it was very engaging and really enhanced the experience of the participants because it created networking events, it created small trips, and that really contributed, I think, to everyone's experience in my case, in my exchange. The thing also that I think is one of the biggest challenges for students is trying to find, in the beginning prior to the exchange, trying to find a suitable university for you to go to. So the process of matching the courses that you want to match and collect the ECTS points available, this for me, and also I think for other people that I've spoken to, this was a really hard process. And also there are multiple people that I know that they lost the opportunity to go on an exchange just because they did not have the time to complete that process within the required deadlines. And so one solution for that, because also it's different for each university, maybe it's easier for universities like business administration universities because there are multiple faculties in this, but also for universities like law related universities or engineering universities or IT departments, it's much harder to find matching courses to collect your ECTS points. And so for that, I think a decent proposal would be for the IR offices to communicate with each other from the sending and hosting institutions and to find a way to have a list with all the available courses so that there are no miscommunication and no mishaps with the matching. So for example, as Katerina mentioned, there were cases which is inconceivable if you think about it, that incoming students arrive in Greece and have to attend courses in Greek, which is, it sounds unreal. So in order to upscale the process for the students, but also for the universities themselves of finding the suitable courses, there should be a list of the available courses that you have to take for each university. So that is one, I think, a big challenge. And also already mentioned again by Katerina, but accommodation, I think, is another thing that really frustrates all students, and it is also one of the biggest bottlenecks when going on an exchange. For me personally, University of Zagreb really made it extremely easy, and it was really helpful because they provided a list of potential dormitories when you could be hosted, and this was accompanied in the original application to go on Erasmus, which was really helpful. And it was actually one of the reasons why I chose, along with other students, this university, because I had the accommodation problem, one of the biggest problems, settled out from the beginning. So I don't think that it is ESN's responsibility to try to help incoming or outgoing students to find accommodation. I think it is the university's responsibility to provide lists with websites and actual resources to help the students find their accommodation, and preferably the most financially appropriate accommodations as well, because we're students, and as already mentioned, the financial motivations, even though exist, they are many of the times not enough for students to go on an exchange. So that's all for me.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, as we are slowly approaching to the end of the first part, I encourage you to ask questions in the chat. And let's continue with the same question to Rita.
Yes, actually, Yason told everything that I wanted to say, but I'll focus mainly on 4 challenges. This was the one that the students actually told us that were the biggest challenge that they were facing. The first one is the one that was already tackled here, accommodation. And actually, in the survey that we did with ESU, we understood that, of course, that if the university can provide accommodation, student dorms, it will be better for students. But actually, what we understood is actually what was said before. So if actually the universities can provide a list of accommodation options, the students really value this effort from universities. So for example, we compare the case of Italy and Netherlands. Italy university don't have student dorms and also don't compile this information for students, but the Netherlands compile this information for students. And we understand that actually students really value that the university is even making an effort to give them these options. Also, the other problem, of course, is lack of funding. And one of the things that ESN has been advocating for a lot of years is the increase of grants, especially the green top-up. So we understand that the students want to travel more sustainably, but they don't have the means to do it, especially because real top-up is not enough for the traveling of sustainable travel. And actually, we understood that the preferred method of transportation of students is still plane all over the world, not only in Greece, but all over the world is still plane. So we see that actually it needs to be an increase in order for the students to prefer travel in this more sustainable methods of transportation. But also other challenge that we have been seeing regarding funding, it's regarding the timing of the grants. So for example, for students to go on mobility, they need to receive the grants in time. They need to receive the grants before they go on mobility, especially if they have fewer opportunities. It's completely crucial. And we still, we have seen some improvements regarding the other survey we did 2 years ago, but we still see that there are still some challenges, especially in some universities, to actually provide the grants on time to students to go on mobility. And I would say the third big challenge, of course, is recognition of credits, already tackled here. And I know that universities don't have a very big role. This is a more state role to implement this priority, but it's completely crucial, especially about the matching courses and students to go on mobility and be ensured that they actually, when they go back, they have the courses recognized. And actually, I can say it was my biggest problem when I was an Erasmus student. I went to Erasmus in Belgium. It was in EU. It was not even outside of EU, and I had a lot of problems recognizing my credits when I went back. So we can see that even now in the new program, there is still challenges regarding this matter. And I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katerina?
Oh my God, they said everything I wanted to say about the challenges. Especially Rita and Yasun, they covered me. But I just wanted to say something about the future of the internationalization of education. To be honest, I would like to see in some years through the Erasmus app, the Erasmus Plus app, to be able to create the whole application for your studies, to choose all your courses from there. I know that this is probably the main point of the application after some years in development. But yeah, I would like to see a platform finally that will help us find our university, maybe our internship more easily. And this is from my point of view.
Thank you very much. And Tanguy?
Can I say something before?
But just one sentence, George.
Yes. I think for internships, the European Universities Initiative will be able to help by by gathering all the available internships that are from universities. So I think also Katerina, inside of the app, the European universities would also have an advantage with this by facilitating such internship mobilities.
Okay, thank you. And let's go to Tanguy.
Thank you. Indeed, complicated but the last one. But I agree with everything that was said. I will try to bring something new, and it's something about student participation, and especially student participation in the governance of the Erasmus programs and in the Erasmus national agencies, and even at the scale of higher education institutions or at the Alliance as well. Because I mean, it's really interesting to talk about how students, what are the problems of students and everything. And I mean, all the things that we all do as student organization, but at some point it's also necessary to have the student at the table of decisions to also bring these issues directly where the decisions are taken. And there is a huge thing about having students involved in the process of decisions or where the funds are allocated, at least in the national agencies. I know that these discussions can also happen at higher education institutions, even more now with the alliances, because I'm sorry for the background noise. And yeah, so I mean, it's really important to have elected, democratically elected student representative in the table of decisions for what regards mobility, because it's really where we can make the difference. So, I mean, it's more a call to the universities that are here, that invite students to the decision, invite the students to the table of decision, because it's it would gain for everyone. I mean, even the universities will be more close to the needs of students, and that's also a way to have maybe more students to go on mobility and to enhance the mobility of students. I mean, if we want to reach all these targets of 25% of mobility, I mean, we have to have mobility curricula that are close to student needs, and for that we need the students at the table of decision. So yeah, that would be my proposal for this the end of this roundtable. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. And Nassim, you have the hardest task because everything is said already.
I also very much agree with everything that has been said so far. I think another challenge that has not been mentioned yet, and I think is often overseen, is diversity in the future of Europe. Young people in Europe are more and more diverse. Our students are more and more diverse. And I think it's really important for the future of Europe and for democracy to keep in mind that this diversity also comes with challenges. I think a lot of people, students from different backgrounds, don't necessarily feel represented by their own institutions, and also not in the curriculum. So I think a really important challenge for the future is to pay attention to the curriculum and see how we can include all students in this curriculum. I think it's also really important to keep in mind that the exchanges and Erasmus program contribute to a common European identity, which is really important for our international future. But at the same time, I also think we need to help build civilians that are also more aware of the entire world. I think when we look at the current events that are going on in the world, we have seen a lot of different opinions, and we have seen that countries across the world that are less democratic are changing their stances. And I think it's really important that people understand where all of this is coming from. And I think for democracy and the future of Europe, it's really important that our students and the next generation of civilians have the feeling that what they feel and what they think is also heard and said in our institutions.
Thank you, Nassim, for your impact. We have another student already growth. The Kostas, the floor goes to you.
I would like to ask a question, so I would like to take time in the queue.
Okay, but you know, I have another question. I have just another question, which is very important from my point of view as Erasmus Plus office representative. At many European universities, we can observe the decreasing number of student mobilities. We all know what are the opportunities, but what stops students? How shall university staff communicate with students to encourage them for the mobilities? And let's start from Nassim to make things easier for.
Could you repeat the question, please?
What stops students? Why students don't want to use the mobilities, and how shall university staff communicate with students to encourage them to make the mobilities?
I think a big challenge here is that going on mobility requires a lot of administrative work for students. You need to apply, you need to write motivation letters, and then when you get selected and appointed to a destination, you also still have to find your housing, make sure that you have health insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And I think all of that can be very intimidating to a lot of students, especially because all of this is abroad. For some students, it will be the first time that they will be living without their parents. So I think there just needs to be more support and clearer information in a more condensed way, I think, because the information is very much available, but in very large texts that students need to go through. So I just think it needs to be more simplified and more straightforward for students to overcome this barrier.
Okay, thank you very much. Yason, your hand is raised, so okay. Maybe
Yes.
let's start.
Oh, okay. Can I start, or do you want to pass it to?
Please,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, so I completely agree with what was just said. The process needs to be simpler. It needs to be less intimidating for students in order for them to try to to start basically the process of their Erasmus mobility. And also I would say that the process needs to be more consistent. You know, people join the universities, maybe 1 year passes, maybe 2 years passes, maybe even 3, and you know, they know that there is an Erasmus program somewhere. They do not know when it starts, when they can go. They do not know when the applications are on. You know, there are students, for example, that are starting their or actually they're finishing their 3rd year, for example, and they must have already done the application and been accepted for the next semester or the 2 semesters later. So they're not aware of it. And so having a consistent information system to get to the students, because the information exists, but it's really hard to get to it. It's not approachable for students. Not many students will go to their university's website, go through all materials and find the Erasmus information needed. So the information needs to get to them in a more simplified and easy to understand way. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Rita?
Yes, I'm just going to back it up with what's been said. So what students actually need and what's the information that gives to us is that they, in the pre-departure support, they want the information all in one place. They want the information all centralized in one place. And especially here, now speaking more about digitalization and what Katerina also mentioned, not only about the Erasmus Plus app, but also about the Erasmus without papers. So we are seeing now, of course, that it's been some troubles in implementation of Erasmus without papers project, but we want to see now, and ESN is going to start to work more on this project to face more the students' needs. And so it's important that face the university needs, but it's also important to face the student needs. And we have been seeing now that, of course, the universities are central in this project, but the student needs in this project are not being well addressed, in our opinion. So we are now starting to liaise more regarding this project and the centralization of the services for the application period for the students.
Thank you very much. And George?
Yeah, so I think the main challenge that students face that makes them defer and not want to continue their application or not to even try is it still has a very big chain of communication in order to be able and choose where you want to go to Erasmus. So you first have to find courses and recognize them and discuss them with the coordinator, and then rediscuss the courses if they can be taken. And then all this puts a lot of effort in the students, and some of them may not want to do it. And while this could take a lot of time, because in replying to emails, and for example, a coordinator can take a week, and then you have to get back and find other courses, and then you have to re-verify if those courses are well, and they have to. So this creates a huge confusion for the students, and it really deters them to try and to continue, or some not even may find the application complete within the deadline they need to be nominated. So I think that's one of the initial challenges that students face. Then there's, of course, challenges that we have already discussed, like, for example, the housing, the cost, the sponsorship money, and if they will be able to qualify for the additional funding. Some of that will help them, but still, I think the initial problem that they face is the courses, because most of them do not really want to go to a mobility if they will lose a semester of academic courses, because at the end of the day, they cannot afford it. So I think that's the main challenge.
Okay, thank you very much. And now let's go to the questions. Kostas, are you going to be first, or we are giving the floor for, I don't know what's your name, you are signed like Ogaret.
Hey, Gareth.
I will be
okay.
Thank you. I apologize for interrupting, but I'm going to brief 2 departments on Erasmus now, the new students. And I wanted to thank the students and the organizers for giving us their view of what is going on, but it's so important to remember as we progress in our career that we're here for the students. In my opinion, the biggest problem is accommodation, especially here on Crete, and with Airbnb in the whole of Europe, it's getting worse. And I make no secret of the fact that we could not cope with helping Erasmus with accommodation if ESN were not helping us. The universities need to provide more accommodation. And in the last 3 years, we are better organized than we were, but there's always room for improvement. And I agree that we need to be even better organized. And I hope in the next 3 years, and within the ATHENA University, which is a positive goal that we can aim towards, that we will get even better organized in coping with the Erasmus. I have to go and brief 2 departments now, so I wanted to thank the students for giving me some energy to go and speak to the people in their first semester. Okay, thanks very much for the meeting. Bye-bye.
You. Kostas, now it's your turn.
No, as you know, an organizer, I suspect that I should be the last one to provide the floor to the other people. I will wait.
Okay, so Nuno.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much to the big group of motivated students that we have with us. This is really critical, and my question is regards to this, because here at the Polytechnic of Porto, it's being a bit tough to get motivated students to be involved in ATHENA activities in these European Universities initiative. So my question goes directly to the students that are with us. What is your driving force? Why are you participating in such an active way in these initiatives on top of what you already have from academic activities and social and all of that? I would like to know that, because maybe we can somehow explore this to somehow attract more students from the Polytechnic to join us.
So I suspect that Nassim and Yorgos can answer this question, that they participate in
Yes, indeed.
So the question. So me personally, I think it's really important to work on internationalization. And that's why I started working with UFE within my own university. But I see a similar issue as you said you have in Portugal, that students over here are not super interested in the whole international project. And we're also trying to figure out what exactly makes it so that students lack this interest. And we also haven't really figured out exactly what makes it so that so little students are involved in all of the activities that our alliance offers, because we also have a very huge palette of things that students can do, from language courses to civil activities, etc. So I think it's overall just so that students, especially after the pandemic, kind of started separating their social life from their university life and academic life. And because of that, I think they're looking less towards their own universities for activities outside of their curriculum. And I just think it's a very important communication task to draw the attention of students, because I think that what we are offering actually can interest students. I just think we are not sufficiently reaching our students and informing them about what the possibilities are.
Yes, I also completely agree with Nassim. To be honest, I think the main issue is communication issues, because just publishing it on main channels or sending it to the emails will not reach the students that we want. And there are a lot of student societies that could help us with that, or having ambassadors in the class or whatever is possible in order to facilitate the information reaching all the students, or as many students as possible, because I think because European universities, for example, tend to have an audience of students in the thousands, I don't think it's as effective as it would have been by sending an email for your university for your action, because you create an action that really you depend on to be notified by thousands of students. And I think you tend to need to have a more traditional approach from mouth to mouth and from classrooms. And I think you need a lot of help in order to facilitate the information reaching where it needs to be. I think that's the first issue. I also agree with Nassim that some of the students try to split their academic lives with their extracurriculars. So most of them are not really looking for any academic extracurriculars after COVID time. But I still think there is a lot of percentage of students that really are interested in those actions. But I think they just don't get the information at the right time, or they don't get the information well. Like they receive it as an email, but they might not open the email in time for the event, or they might not open the email or not receive the information from the main channels of its alliance or its universities, because most of them really will not really go looking for those information. They would just expect it to reach it to them. So I think this could be resolved by having an extended network of people that will disseminate the information and the opportunities within its university and from mouth to mouth, a more traditional way.
I also think what might be important to add to this is that a lot of students are very busy because of their curriculum, and they're not really willing to add a lot of work that is also academic after their hours already. So I also think you can definitely reach more students by making activities intracurricular and by finding ways to recognize the work that students do within the Alliance, whether it's academic courses or other activities as part of their curriculum, as different ways of learning.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Caroline, I don't know
And
if I can add something.
yes, I'm going to you, straight to you.
But because I'm also Portuguese and I know very well the reality of the Portuguese universities. Of course, I don't know the technical Portugal reality because I studied in Lisbon. But one thing that I noticed, especially by dealing with Portuguese universities for 5 years, is that exactly what was mentioned here is the problem of recognition of activities, of volunteer activities, so especially not student unions, but more the other volunteer activities, especially ESN activities and European University activities. So for example, one of the things that I noticed that my volunteers wanted to go to an event, for example, a capacity building event that they wanted to be trained how to be, for example, about European elections, about how to be better leaders for society. And the universities in Portugal didn't recognize the activities, didn't let them to skip exams or to skip classes to attend these activities. So I would say the recognition of volunteer activities is core for this. And I would say also the peer-to-peer support, like Jörg was mentioned. So not only receiving the information by email, but also these activities that the sections organize of going to the students and explain, I did mobility, and this was what I learned with my mobility experience. Actually having this physical interaction with the students, it's key. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tanguy.
Thank you very much. My point was the one that Rita just made about the recognition of the engagement of the students who are part of the of this initiative. I mean, especially when it comes to, I mean, because the topic is the European universities. I mean, when you are involved, and you you rightly said that when you have to pile up like your personal life, your curriculum life, your life of student representative, and all the other activities that you may have, and you are doing that basically for free when you are contributing to the activity and the life of the Alliance, it's some kind of unfairness with all the other person who are directly employed to do that job. So at least to have some kind of recognition, or at least maybe some kind of arrangement of the classes, that, for example, that you are able to miss some classes, or you have some special exams, delayed exams, like that things that make your life easier and that give you time to allow yourself. Because I mean, probably there would be a lot of students that would be really keen to involve themselves in this kind of initiative, but they do not have the mean to do that, and they can't allow them to do that because, I mean, they do not have the time or capacity to do this. So, I mean, as soon as you create some kind of exceptions like this, I mean, it's really raise the involvement rates of students. But thank you.
Thank you very much. And the floor goes to Fabian. Fabian.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here, and I want to thank Costas for involving me in this program. For over 2 years, I think we were part of the program, but unfortunately, we don't get information on the call. And so how do we get calls for the students to be involved? This is a problem to us because none of our students have been involved in this program, and we are really interested. And again, in the issue of the mobility, I had a student who traveled over 3 countries, but then I don't know whether Africans are involved. Could they travel down to Africa in terms of the mobility? Did you get my question?
I mean,
Hello?
I got Fabian, I got your question. Of course, you know,
Okay.
the Africans, the African students, they can involved in all our activities. Our university, and I think that you have received the email. If not, is organizing, particularly for African university in collaboration with Europe, at the beginning of April, an event in Crete in order to boost this collaboration with African universities. And when we are describing African universities, we are talking about students, academic, researchers, administrators, all kinds of stakeholders. This will happen at the beginning of April. You will receive more information by my side by the end of the day.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You are very welcome. I would like to say Fabiana Izema is a partner of us in KA 171 from Nigeria. They are coming from a very prestigious research university there.
And Kostas, it's finally your turn.
My turn. All right. First of all, I would like to make a statement, and then I will provide very fast the floor to my colleague, George Liodakis, also to announce to our students another initiative that the ATHENA Alliance is preparing regarding their employability. First of all, I would like to inform the community that we are going to receive a funding from my university, from the budget of the university, to organize the global ESN conference if we are going to be selected on this. But this shows us our priority to collaborate with students. Whatever involves students, we would like to participate and host international events. We have not been selected, but we are trying to work and be able to host an event if this happens. I think that through this discussion it was so fruitful that I had a lot of questions, but you have answered them during the process. But I think now I have a very big dream to organize, and I think that we should organize the ATHENA, or however I'm going to name it. I would like to be flexible, so I don't want to place names in front of what we would like to do. The student conference. So a student conference with communities, local communities. I think that this will be the next target of mine through the Alliance and through the HMU, to organize a conference for students, to bring students together with societies, not only with universities. So we are going to have the funding to organize this. Or through the Erasmus mobilities, through the management funds that the universities they are getting. So this is something that has been inspired by all of you. But I have a question now to Rita, and the question, of course, comes to all of you. 25% of student mobility. When we are participating in the European university, they are talking about 50%. So the ESN, as a very close, decision maker in Brussels, they say 25%. European university are talking about 50%, and we are in 2% right now. So my question is like the following: what about the virtual mobility? What is your position about virtual mobility? Does it will play a role in order to achieve this figure, or we're talking strictly about physical mobility? The floor is yours, Rita. This question is to you particularly.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a very interesting question. And actually, we have wrote a position paper with Ezu about this topic, actually. So then we actually can contribute also for this. So we are speaking about physical mobility, 25% of physical mobilities only. And our perspective on virtual mobility is that they should be a path to achieve physical mobility after. There should be a preparation to actually after to go on a path to physical mobility. The same with BIPs, with blended intensive programs. We think that they should also be instigated, especially because they can be an opportunity for people with few opportunities, because normally also these people cannot have opportunity to go on a physical mobility. But we believe especially that the virtual part of the blended intensive programs should be a preparation for the physical part of the programs. So yes, basically summarizing our position paper that I'm gladly would like to send you all. That's it. Please
send it to us, because this will direct us a lot in order to take on activities towards the achievement of this goal.
I will put in the chat.
Yes, thank you. I had another one, but I forgot it because I was very much impressed by your points and the maturity of the students. How did they state their position? Much better than talking with my colleagues, I have to say. Much better. So I would like to give the floor to our colleague George Liodakis in order to make another announcement about activity of ATHENA that is preparing for the students as well, and it's open to everyone. We are going to share, this call to everyone. George?
Thank you, Kostas. Good morning to all. It was nice to hear all these experiences from our students and their interest in various internationalization activities. So let me talk a little about two individual activities in the framework of ATHENA University Alliance that are to begin in this month, in October, and in November. At first, the ATHENA Career Days that will take place in all Thursdays of November. Mainly, it will be panel discussions with focus on local job market issues. The second activity, the second action will be that of alumni talks. Where graduates of the individual universities of the ATHENA European University will talk their professional path after graduation, and will provide, I suppose, useful information for all other students throughout the other universities, and not only. These alumni talks will be every second Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central Europe time.
We are going to send an email about this. You know, otherwise the people, they will forget.
Yes, and to involve also George Psaltakis, as we have cooperated in the past, to advertise it at the Erasmus Student Network. Okay, thank you, George, thank you, Kostas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to go back to the raised hands just for another few minutes. Abdelillah, did I do it the right way?
Just a moment. It's better to address the questions in the chat, because otherwise we are going to miss them in the chat. So there is one question has been answered to Elena. There is another question by Elena Misraki. Relates to the language barriers. Are all students and staff prepared for their studies in English? I'm sorry for the people that they have raised their hand, but you know, on the chat we are missing after a while the questions. So there is a question to all of you. Are all students and staff prepared for their studies in English? I mean, I suspect that if you have any preparation courses in English, in order, you know, these barriers that you have mentioned to be lower. So any one of you, if you have any point, Yorgos, yes?
What I really think is that we tend to overthink of how much barrier English is for studies and for exchange. And I think having conversational English or being able to communicate, you will be able to go to a mobility. Like you will be able to make your English level better in the mobility. And I think it should not be a barrier for you to try.
Excellent. This is the position of George. Do we have another position from any other student, or this is the position of all of you? I will provide now the management to Carolina, you know, for the face-to-face.
Thank you, Kostas. Tank, will you reply also to this question, or?
Yeah,
whatever.
Briefly on the learning of English, I completely agree with George. Just to remind that not all the paths or not all the fields of education in higher education have the same access to basic learning English classes, and not even in primary and secondary school education. There is not even basic classes to English given to all the students from all the countries equally. So I mean, we can see like really unbalance between the learning, basic English learning from students from one country to another. So I mean, of course, it's accessible in English for most of the students, but there is still things to do, and it's above higher education. It's primary and secondary education, so not a lot of things that we can do here, and a lot of things that we all have power on. But I mean, there is also a problem to tackle at this level to maybe enhance a little bit more the fact that students can speak English and to enhance the level of English also.
Thank you very much. Abdillah, like is your hand still raised?
Yes, I'll take just a minute to thank everybody for this very interesting meeting. I would have loved to see more Moroccans joining the meeting. Maybe we should keep on organizing such encounters to get in touch with each other and to have more people involved. The only people I see involved here are from the Tamkin Foundation. As a matter of fact, we would like to welcome all of you, reach out to us, so we could work together. Thanks, Kostas, for this great opportunity, and I look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Athena.
Thank you.
So I think Yannis Kaliakatsos had raised his hand as well. Thank you, Abdelillah. Abdelillah comes also, is a very close partner, a new partner of our university, but of our alliance, I hope that we're going to be engaged in more activities.
We will. Please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. Yeah. Okay?
Yannis Kaliakatsos has a comment. Let's to be very fast in order to close because it's 12:30.
Yes, I know. Thank you, all of you, especially the students who participated in this meeting. I don't know if somebody else asked the same question because I had to leave for some minutes. I have to ask my students if they think that the stay for 6 months abroad is enough, or you need to have more time, for example, 1 year to stay abroad for your mobility. This is the one. And the second one, do you believe that BIP project Erasmus are something to connect virtual and physical mobility, and is something to motivate the students to participate in Erasmus activities? These two questions, and sorry if I take the time.
Thank you very much for the questions, Rita.
Yes, thank you for the question. I can fastly answer both of them. Regarding the preferred option of students is actually the mobility of 5 to 6 months. They actually prefer to go on this option of mobility. Of course, it always depends on the background and on the motivation of students. So sometimes what happens is that they go on this 6 months mobility, and then they actually do other mobility in master or on when they go to other studies, or they go to traineeships as well. So it actually depends. But what we see also is that for people with fewer opportunities is actually the preferred method of mobility. So it's the one that we advise the most in these cases. Also for BIPs, we also advise BIPs also in the cases of people with fewer opportunities as well, because if they cannot go on mobility for several reasons, they actually have the opportunity to participate in this new form of mobility. What we are seeing in BIPs is that BIPs at the moment are not the most well-known form of mobility, so we are advising for this to be more well communicated to students for their participation. But it goes a bit to what I said before. We believe that BIPs are a pathway to the physical mobility, and students could be able to change if they want to go on the 5 or 6 or 1 year mobility after.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita. And Nuno?
Well, I would just like to stress the relevance of these forms of virtual mobility and blended mobility. COVID has bring this a lot into the front line, but I believe that virtual mobility is still seen as the second division of mobility. We should be very careful with this, because virtual mobility, blended mobility are probably the only chances for hundreds, for thousands of students that cannot go on international contact during their studies in other way. There are financial reasons, family reasons, health reasons, professional reasons, many barriers for physical mobility, and we should not give, universities should give all these students a full portfolio of possibilities to go mobile, even virtual mobility, and don't place this in the second league of mobility, because this is the only possibility that many of our students have to have this international contact, to benefit from this during their studies, because for some reasons they cannot go physical. That's what I would like to add to the discussion. Thank you very much for this. It was really amazing to have this discussion. We should have booked 2 hours courses for this.
Thank you very much, Nuno.
I think that Tanguy would like to make this a comment, and I think that we should close.
Yeah, just thank you for the floor. Just a quick reply to what Nuno just said about virtual exchange and not mobility, because I mean it's I will be maybe more careful on what we want with virtual exchange, because of course it will be a way to create some first contact, international contact for some students, but then it's a matter of what we want. Do we want for the students who have the means to go abroad to have physical mobility, and for all the students who do not have the means to afford themselves because they do not have the family that can have their back, or they do not have access to enough funds to only have the virtual way of having an exchange, and then create a two-tier system within mobility, the one for the wealthier students to go abroad physically, and for the one who do not have the means to remain physical online. That's a decision, and that's a discussion that at some point we will have to have, because to create some first link, and I mean, when it's hybrid, to have some parts online and some part physical, that's a good way to indeed maybe create some first link, and then to maybe make it easier for the students then when you go physically, because you already know the person that you will meet because you already met them online, but only have online exchange and online experience and count them as physical mobility, and count them as mobility is, according to us, maybe a problem, because as I said, it creates a two-tier system within mobility, which is, I mean, quite problematic in a sense. So yeah, I would be maybe more careful on what we want, and on the, I mean, it's purely semantic, but on what we want and what we call what we want. Yeah, that's only the small remark that I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you. No, just one last question, sentence.
Yeah. I wish we could continue this discussion, because we should be very, let's not lose opportunities because of semantics. So it's, yeah, virtual mobility, virtual exchange, it's just a matter of words, but the most critical thing and the most important thing is what students get out of this, regardless of what we name it, regardless of what we call it. The important thing, it's not only for the students, for the teachers as well. The most important thing that we get out of this is the opportunity to have this international contact, to experience different cultures, to have the opportunity to work with the students that have a different background, that come from a different region in Europe. This is the critical. What we name it is not relevant. If we name it virtual mobility, virtual exchange, internationalization at home, whatever. The important thing is that the students should have this opportunity to interact internationally during their studies. And many of them cannot do this physically. But I'm sure that we will organize one session just to discuss this point that I believe would be very interesting. Thank you very much.
Cut.
Thank you very much. As you can see, the university staff is as enthusiastic as the students are. So I would like to thank you all. Your point of view is very important for those who are managing the process, but your enthusiasm has a great role for students who are still undecided. Thank you to all the listeners. Thank you, Kostas, for the invitation.
Let's update our meeting for tomorrow, because tomorrow the old generation will speak about internationalization. So at the same time, the old generation will set up, their points. What is the internationalization from the academics point of view? So I will send you the invitation in order to participate and continue this discussion with them tomorrow. And of course, I will renew. This is like a very big bet for my university now, and for ATHENA, I would say, to organize this student conference, and these talks and these discussions to be a whole week, not just like 90 minutes. So I would like to thank all of you. I would like to thank Carolina, excellent moderation, I would say, all of you for your very inspiring, ideas and inputs and proposals. I hope that if we are going to implement 20% of them, we are going to be a better universities very soon. So thank you, and we will see again tomorrow. Hopefully, in order to challenge the old generation and directly propose your activities to them. So until tomorrow, bye, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.